welcome back to another video on my channel. This video is the part 3 of the Microsoft Teams series. In the previous video, I walked through on how to manage various settings of internal users and also discussed how to control what all access should guests and external users have. Moreover, I also covered Teams application policies and meeting policies. In this video, I will go over each of the configurables under messaging policies and some of the voice policies. Alright, so without wasting any more time, let's get into it. I am under messaging policies, so let me click on the global one. So the first policy is owners can delete sent messages. If this is turned on, then owners can delete channel messages or posts. The next one is delete sent messages. This setting lets users to delete messages that they send to each other in a Teams chat. Next one is edit sent messages. As the name suggests, if this is turned on, users will have the ability to edit any sent messages in a Teams chat. The next policy is about read receipts. So we have 3 options to choose from. If you set this to user controlled, that means users will have to decide whether they want to enable or disable this feature in their Teams client. By default, this feature is turned on. If you set this to turned off for everyone, that means this setting will be disabled for everyone in the tenant and no user can turn it on. If you set this to turn on for everyone, that means read receipt feature is turned on for everyone and users cannot turn it off. The next one is to control chat functionality. So if you don't want people in your organization to be able to chat with each other in Teams application, then you can turn off this option. The next few options are for fun stuff like GIFs, memes, stickers. If you don't want people in your organization to be able to use any of these features, then you can turn them off. So we have 3 options to choose from in the Giphy content rating. If you choose as strict, this means users will be able to include Giphies in their chat, but Giphies will be strictly restricted from adult content. If you go with no restrictions, this means users will be able to use Giphies in their chat regardless of the content rating of Giphy. Right, the next one is URL preview. You may have noticed that when you share a URL with someone in a Teams chat, Teams automatically add a picture and the description of the web page in line in the chat. If you don't want this feature to be turned on, then you can turn it off and then users will not be able to see description of the web page and the picture of it. The next one is translate messages. This feature lets users automatically translate chat messages into a language specified by the personal language setting of the user. Next one is immersive reader for messages. This enables users to view messages in Microsoft Immersive Reader, which provides users with full screen reading experience. Now the next policy is send urgent messages using priority notification. If this is turned on, users can send messages using priority notification, and such messages notify recipients every 2 minutes for 20 minutes or until messages are read. Keep in mind that any message sent using this feature cannot be edited. The next one is create voice message. So this feature is currently available on Teams mobile app. Using this feature, users can leave audio messages in both chats and channels. The next one is on mobile devices, display favorite channels above recent chats. So you may have noticed that if you mark a channel as favorite, then that channel becomes visible above the chat window. The next one is remove users from group chats. When this option is turned on, users can remove other users from a group chat. Next one is suggested replies. You may have noticed that sometimes Teams suggests you on what to reply on a particular message. So that feature is controlled using this policy. And about chat permissions role, I have already covered how exactly this works in the part 1 of the Team series. I'll leave the link for the video in the description so you can check that out. And the last one is users with full chat permission can delete any message. So this setting allows meeting organizers to delete any meeting chat messages. Alright, so that was all about the messaging policies. Let me click cancel now. So I have already created a custom messaging policy. Let me open it. And as you can see, I have toggled off edit sent messages and Giphy memes options. So let me log in with any of the users to whom this policy is assigned. So let me click on view users. As you can see, this policy is assigned to Samuel. Let me log into Teams as Samuel and see what all permissions are denied for this user. I am now logged into Teams as the user Samuel. And we can see down at the bottom that this user does not have the option to use Giphies or emojis. Further, this policy also restricts users from editing any sent message. So let me see if I can edit this message. So we do not have the option to edit. Alright, so this is how you can control various features that you don't want users to use in your organization. Let me go back to Teams Admin Center. I will now go over some of the voice policies. And the first one that I'll talk about is calling policy. So let me open the global one. First one is make private calls. If this option is toggled off, users cannot make any calls in the Teams environment. The second one is cloud recording for calling. By default, one-to-one calls cannot be recorded in Teams. However, if you have any such requirement to enable one-to-one call recording, then you can turn on this option. The next one is transcriptions. We have already discussed what is transcription in my last video, and with this option, you can enable transcripts even for one-to-one calls. The next one is call forwarding and simultaneously ringing. This setting controls whether incoming calls can be forwarded to other users or can ring to another person at the same time. In my last video, I showed you how to set up incoming calls to be forwarded to other numbers from the Teams Admin Center. So the next policy is also about the same, but in this case, we are also allowing users to enable forwarding to external phone numbers. So the next option is voicemail is available for routing incoming calls, and we have 3 options to choose from. If you select as enabled, then voicemail is always available for inbound calls. If you select as not enabled, then voicemail is not available for inbound calls. Similarly, if you choose the last option, which is user controlled, in that case, user can determine whether they want voicemails to be available or not. Okay, the next one is inbound calls can be routed to call group. So as the name suggests, you can configure group calls for incoming calls. To use this option, we first have to configure a call group. So let me show you how exactly you can do that. So under Manage Users, you can choose the user for whom you would like to enable call group. And then under Voice, we can select as be forwarded immediately. Now we have the option to select group call pickup, and then we can select manage call group. Here you can add the list of people whom you would like to be added in the group. Let's say I want Samuel, and Sandy. Okay, so now I have added two people here. That means whenever someone calls Ashton, the call will ring to Samuel and Sandy simultaneously. You can also make another selection which is in order of table rows. That means call will first ring Samuel and then it will ring Sandy. So this is how you can set up call groups. Another calling policy that I'll cover now is about delegation. So in the same drop down, you can also select delegate. So delegates can receive and make calls on behalf of the user who delegated them. So you can add the list of delegation here and then grant them permission whether they can just receive calls or make calls or can't make or receive calls. Let me go back to calling policies. Okay, so we have discussed about group calls as well as delegation. Now the next one is prevent toll bypass and send calls through the PSTN. So ideally, we should not turn on this option unless we have users with calling plans, as this will prevent successful call routing. This setting only works with direct routing that is configured to handle location-based routing restrictions. Next one is music on hold. This setting allows you to turn on or turn off music on hold when a PSTN user call is placed on hold. Next one is busy on busy when in a call. This setting enables how incoming calls are handled when a user is already in a call or conference or has a call placed on hold. New or incoming calls can be rejected with busy signal and can be routed accordingly to the user's unanswered settings. So I'll show you in Teams client on how exactly user can set up unanswered settings. I am now logged in to the Teams client and I'll show you how users can set up their unanswered call rules. So at the top right side, we have an option for ellipsis. User will click on it and then settings, calls. Under calls, we have an option to select what needs to happen to unanswered calls, whether they should get forwarded to voicemail or nothing should happen to them. So this is how users can manage unanswered calls. Let me close it. Alright, so the next one is web PSTN calling. This option enables users to make calls to PSTN numbers using the Teams web client. And the next policy is real-time caption in Teams calling. As the name suggests, live captions are available to users during Teams calls. The next one is automatically answer incoming meeting invites. This setting controls whether incoming meeting invites are automatically answered. By default, it's turned off. Keep in mind that this setting does not apply to other type of calls. Let's talk about spam filtering now. So we have three options to choose from. If you set this to enabled, then spam filtering is fully enabled. Both basic and captcha IVR checks are performed. In case the call is considered as spam, the user will get a spam likely notification in Teams. If you set this to turn off, that means spam filtering is completely disabled and no checks are performed. Spam likely notifications will not appear in Teams. Next option is turn off without IVR. Spam filtering is enabled partially in this case, and captcha IVR checks are also disabled. Spam likely notifications will appear in the Teams though. A call might get dropped in case it gets a high score from basic checks. Okay, the next one is SIP devices can be used for calls. This setting enables users to use a SIP device to make and receive calls. Alright, so that's all about the calling policies. Let me now go over call hold policies. Let me open the global one. So basically, you can upload an audio file in here which you would like to be played when a Teams user places a caller on hold. So that's all we can do from call hold policies. Let me now talk about call park policies. Okay, I'm going to open the global one. Alright, so the first one is call park, and by default it's turned off. So first, let's understand what is call park. To place a call on hold on one device and then pick it up from another device is known as parking a call. You can also retrieve the call from the same device as well though. So when a call is parked, the service generates a unique code for call retrieval. The user who parked the call or someone else can use that code to retrieve the call. Let me now talk about call pickup start range and call pickup end range. So a code has to be entered to retrieve a parked call, and those codes can be any number between 10 to 99, as it says here, the starting range and the end range. The start and end range is configurable anything between 10 through 9999. For example, the first parked call will be rendered a pickup code of the start of range, that is 10, and any subsequent parked calls will have the pickup code as 11, and this goes on until the last number is in the range. After which, the rendered pickup codes start over again from the start of the range, that is 10. So I can also select 9999 here. So this is the range. Let me now discuss about park timeout settings. So in here, we can specify the number of seconds to wait before ringing back when the parked call has not been picked up. The seconds are configurable anything between 120 through 1800 seconds. So I also have the ability to choose 1800 here. Let me save it. That's all about the call park policies. Let me now talk about voicemail policies. Let me open global one. The first policy here is users can edit call answering rules. So this policy allows users to edit their call answering rules. The next one is maximum voice recording length. So in here you can configure the maximum length of voicemails. You can enter any value between 30 through 600 seconds. Okay, so you can define the seconds here. Okay, the next one is primary prompt language. So you can decide the language in which IVR is played to the caller. Similarly, you have the option to define a secondary language as well. Now the next one is voicemail transcription. So this setting controls whether cloud voicemail service will translate the transcription of the recorded voicemail. And the next one is mask profanity in voicemail transcription. So if this is turned on, then profanity will be masked in voicemail transcription. And this setting allows users to share any data for service improvement with Microsoft. Alright, so that's all I wanted to cover in the voice settings. I may create another video to discuss on how to set up auto attendance and call queues. If there is any topic that you would like me to cover in my videos, please leave the topic name in the comments box, and I'll try my level best to create a video on the same. If you like the video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. Thank you for watching, and bye for now.